Okay, in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the different ways to chain some of the geometry that might be a little bit confusing. So let's take a look here. We're just going to kind of evaluate this. So what I want to do is I want this portion of this design to be extruded above this part. Essentially, we would be machining down this surface here and leaving this exposed. Lost my screen there for a second. That was strange. So we would be leaving this part exposed and machining this surface down, but the problem that you run into is when you go to chain this, your chain won't follow this outer perimeter. It tries to follow the geometry, which would run directly into this circle, and you can see this is a completed circle and whatnot. So we're going to take a look at that and analyze it. So let's do a area mill toolpath. So let's do 2D high speed area mill. The first thing that I'm going to do here, and I've lost my screen again. Very strange. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this outer boundary for my machining region, my main machining region, and then I want to avoid this area. When I select avoidance and I try to chain this, I want to use a partial chain using the wait command. And when I try to go around this, you can see that it goes past the geometry that I want to follow. And that's pretty typical, and that's the issue that you run into when trying to chain. So a lot of people will just start, they'll kind of back up and they'll click here, and then they'll start getting these error messages from Mastercam. So let's back out of this, back out of that. What we have to do before we can get this into a situation where we can cut this and actually properly chain this is we have to produce a perimeter around this part such as this. And I've already done this one just so that I can show you, and you can see that this thicker line type is just an illustration to show you the way this chain would need to be created. So let's go ahead and do it. 2D high speed area mill. We'll click this outer boundary for our machining region, and then we will do an avoidance region of this perimeter, and I'm going to do partial wait, and we're going to just start right there, and I'm just going to walk this around this outer perimeter like so. When you get that green arrow to complete, stop. Don't go any further. Hit the green check. And then you can preview. We can take a look at how that toolpath is going to run. I'll go ahead and grab a tool real quick. We'll do like maybe a 1/4 inch end mill or something like that. Okay, and there's our toolpath that goes around this shape. So we can put our linking parameters in. We'll do -0.5, and there we go. We have machined this out of this block. We'll see if we can take a look at that real quick. I haven't set up my stock yet, so it may look a little funny. But as you can see there, we've machined around that perimeter. Now, how do we get to this, where we can chain this properly? So there's a couple of tricks that we can do, and the best way to be able to follow geometry and chain it properly is to come up here to where it says break two pieces and click the down arrow, this little arrow here, and you're going to do break at intersection. You can right click that and you can add this tool to your quick access toolbar, and I've already done that, and you can see up here at the left at the very top is my quick access toolbar. So I'm going to be using this a lot, so I added it there so I can click that, And what that's going to allow me to do is to select an entity I want to break. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and you can see this is the entity that goes past the intersection that I want it to stop at. So this essentially would be the entity I want to break. So we're going to select that entity, and we're going to break it here. So I'm going to click there and then enter on the keyboard. And now, as you can see, let me clear colors. Now you can see I have my entity here, there, and then it's broke right there. So now whenever I chain this, I can do the partial chain with the wait command, and I can follow this geometry. Now look what happens when I get to this circle. I get to this circle, and it does it again. So I need to go back up here to my break at intersection. I want to break the circle at this intersection. Hit enter. And now whenever my chain is following, it now has a break point there. And this is what you have to do anytime that you have some strange geometry like this. We're going to have to do it here as well. Hit enter. Clear those colors. So now as that chain comes around, it has a nice path. Let me zoom in. We have a nice path right from this geometry into this geometry. And if you don't have that, Mastercam isn't capable of following a particular contour. And I think that's what a lot of folks run into. So this tool here, break at intersection, which is located under this little guy right here, break at intersection there, is the ticket. So we can click it again, and we can do this one. See how this arc is not broke where these two arcs connect. So we're going to select the one we want to break, which would be the one that doesn't have any intersection breaks, and then select the pieces that you want to intersect. And now we're going to follow, and then we're going to land to that. See, from there to there. Now we need to do this side. Break this at this intersection. This seems a little time consuming and a little tedious, but it's really not that bad once you've done it a couple times. You're going to transition from here into this one, and you're going to just continue this process around your part. Break this at that intersection. All right, we're going to repeat. We're going to break this at this intersection. Break this guy at this intersection, and so on. And at this point now, when we go to our toolpath, and for this particular one I'm using 2D high speed, but let's do a contour instead. Let's say I want to just contour the outside of this. I'm going to do partial, wait, and I like to start somewhere that it's pretty easy and visible, so we're going to start right there. And as you can see, I can now walk around this geometry very easily. And there you go. My toolpath is going to go around the outside perimeter there. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if it doesn't, and we'll go another route, and I'll see if I can get you squared away. All right, thank you.